Okay, so this is just a little bit of advanced information on using regular expressions in PHP. We'll talk about matching sub-expressions, and we'll talk about back references briefly. Again, this is optional. Because this is optional, I'm not going to go and mention about matching white space, and in particular, in the real world, you might need to worry about people pasting in stuff, and the white space they paste in might come from Microsoft Word that uses thin space or unbreakable space or a bunch of other Unicode characters which don't match \s because they're not a tab, new line, or space, but they do want to be counted as white space. So the correct way to do this is to use the Unicode property for space, which is \p for Unicode property, and then capital Z for spaces. You can look up lots of different Unicode properties you can use. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to mention that because this is an optional video. Okay, so parentheses in regular expressions. So say we go ahead and match, we have some big regular expression like, hey, does this regular expression occur in a string? And yes, it does. And you sort of wish you knew, hey, out of this big regular expression, what were the characters that contributed to that match? Okay, so say you just had some regular expression of, A star, B plus, C star. Give me those characters out of it, okay? And we can do that. There's an optional parameter to preg match all. And so here's an example calling preg match all. We have this thing here. We get back the fact that there is a match. Preg match tells that. Preg match all tells us there is one match to this regular expression inside this string. We know that it's right here. If you're concerned about what those characters are, here's what you do. When you call preg match all, pass in another variable. Okay, it's actually passed by reference, or you're actually a passive variable. It turns out it's an out parameter, if that term helps you from Ada or from PL/SQL. Meaning it doesn't care what the value of that variable is. It's going to use that variable to store some results and give back to it. Preg match all is now wanting to give back two pieces of information. Oops, I know you can't see me raising up my fingers saying two, but I am. Two pieces of information. Hey, how many matches were there, and what were the characters that matched? So the way that many languages that don't support returning multiple values support that is say, hey, okay, I'll have out parameters. Pass me in the place to put my answer. Okay, so yeah, preg match all, and we can go ahead and it returns one, and then in addition, the variable match results after we're done holds an array of one item. And that item contains the string A, B, B, C, C, C. So you can see exactly how many A's and B's and C's were involved in that match if you wanted to. Okay, so that's kind of nice. Sometimes you actually want to get that information out of it. Here's one good example in validation. You have a regular expression for an invalid character. Like, hey, does their input contain any invalid characters? Yes. It'd be nice if you could report back, oh, hey, here's the invalid character you entered, user. That's really as user-friendly goes, that's de rigueur almost. It's annoying just to get back, hey, you have an illegal character somewhere in your input. Here's all the list of illegal characters. Good luck on tracking down which one you put in poorly. That's just kind of annoying. So preg match all, you'll provide an extra variable. It's an out param, and then you can look in that afterwards and see what string is inside of it. Now, if you look at it, it's a little bit weird. It's an array of one item. That array contains an array of one item. So it's an array of an array. Why is that? We'll see in a second. Okay, so scrolling down a bit. What if we have several different matches going on? Okay, sorry, but before that, what if we want to know the subparts? Hey, I have this A star and B plus and C star, and I know that it occurs somewhere in my string, but hey, tell me what was the part that matched the A star? What was the part that matched the C star? Maybe I don't care about matching the B plus. If I want to know that, put parentheses, just throw them in, extra parentheses in your regular expression around the things that you want to be able to look up later. Okay? So it's the same regular expression as before. We just threw regular expressions around the A star and the C star as an example. And we get back here, we get back an array of size 3. And there's still only one match to this pattern, but it's reporting an array of size 3. It's going to give you the entire match, and then it's going to give you the match of the first parenthesized item, A star, and then, hey, what was the characters contributing to the second parenthesized item, C star. Okay, so that's why we get an array of 3 things. Here's what's matched everything. Here's the part that matched the A star. Here's the part that matched the C star. So I guess in general, the length of the array you get back is 1 plus the number of parenthesized sub-expressions in your regular expression. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of cool. That's kind of nice. You don't have to get back just the A, B, B, C, 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 and then again try to figure out, hey, do matching on that thing to get more information back. It's a little bit redundant. Okay. It gets better. If there's multiple matches, we'll get information about each of those. Okay? So here's that same regular expression, and I want to again know about my A's and C's in particular in more detail. So, hey, here's the string. Again, PRegMatch just says, does this string contain a match to this? Yes, it contains several, actually. Okay. Calling PRegMatch all, we see that it matches twice. Here we are. Here's one match. Can you find the other match for me? Of course you can. Especially after pausing and looking closely. And we can see the second match is here, AA, B plus, C star, 0 C's in this one. So, okay. Great, this goes ahead and says there were 2 matches. So it's going to give me back an array of size 3, just like last time. Okay, the total matching, and then the parts that matched the A star and the parts that matched the C star. And it's going to, for each of those, it's going to give me information about the 2 matches involved. Okay, so of the overall matches, here was one overall match, here was a second overall match. Those are the 2 that we just found. In particular, what are the A's involved in each of those? For the first match, it was this. For the second, it was that. What about the C's involved? For the first match, it was this string. For the second match, it was that string. Okay, so it's kind of convoluted that this out param that comes back is an array of arrays. Usually, in practice, when I do this, I'm only interested in the very first one. I'm interested in the characters contributed to the overall match and how many there were. But if I threw in some extra parentheses, I'll get other things in this thing coming back, which may or may not be helpful. Okay, good. So again, study those if you're curious about that, if you come across this in the future. Back references. Okay, so I'll throw in as a side note, regular expressions are inherently limited in what they can do. In fact, sometimes people try to use regular expressions for doing too much. Here's something a regular expression cannot do. Hey, do I have a bunch of A's followed by a bunch of B's? Well, we can do that. Do I have a bunch of A's followed by exactly the same number of B's? That cannot be computed with a regular expression. Okay, you can go and take an automata theory class, and they'll actually prove that, and they'll come very precisely with what can and cannot be done with regular expressions. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And I would actually say that it's a plus that regular expressions have this limitation. In the sense that we get nice we're trading off expressibility. We can't capture everything we might want, but we get some very other nice properties. It'll be very quick to bound these. If somebody gives me a regular expression to match, I know my algorithm is going to run in a very limited amount of time. I can calculate that, which I lose if I start trying to capture a lot more stuff. So don't use regular expressions for things that are too complicated. Anything that involves nesting, you probably don't want to use regular expressions for. For example, hey, I have an HTML document. Does it contain an EM tag inside of an H tag? Whatever that would mean. An H1 tag. You don't use regular expressions for that. It's going to be hard to get it correct. People try that. Sometimes people will say, If you have a problem and you try to solve it with regular expressions, you now have two problems. That's what they're talking about. That's a bit of exaggeration. Regular expressions are great in places where you have very simple patterns and not involving nesting. Okay, all that aside, back references. Back references are something that if you talk with the automata theory people, they'll say, hey, you've now gone beyond what we have for 30 years traditionally called regular expressions. Great, more power to you, but realize that now we're diverging, using the same term and diverging a bit. That's fine. Regular back references says, hey, yeah, I'm matching something. I matched a bunch of A's and I matched some B's, and I want to match something that is the same as those number of A's that I matched back there. The exact same sequence of A's, okay? Or another example I give, imagine I'm parsing a file that has a username followed by a real name followed by an email address. And I want to make sure that that email address starts with exactly the username, okay? So I'll have some sort of regular expression for the username, followed by some sort of regular expression for a in real life name, followed by a regular expression for the email name. In that email, I'll start it off with a back reference saying, hey, go ahead and use that very first regular expression for the username, \1, okay? So let's look at an example of this. Here's a regular expression similar to before. It's going to match A's followed by B's followed by A's again. Any number of A's followed by one or more B's followed by the same number of A's. Okay? And so we're going to throw parentheses around the A star. This time we're putting parentheses around the A star because I want to refer to it in a back reference later on. So the first thing in parentheses is going to be back reference number 1. Okay. And you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 99 of them or something like that. 1 often suffices for a lot of tasks. Okay. Match up 0 or more A's, followed by 1 or more B's, followed by the exact same thing that we matched back here. So sure enough, we match. If we go and look at what that match was, it was the string ABA. Okay, so here is the match that we found. Okay, you might say, hey, a bunch of A's, that's triple A, followed by a B, followed by, and then we'd have to match 3 more A's, and we don't. So that wouldn't match. So this is actually kind of smart. It's sort of saying, hey, this thing in the front, I couldn't match all 3, maybe I can match 2, maybe I can match 1. Yeah, it turns out matching 1 is then enough to let me go ahead and complete this entire regular expression and match that exact 1A after the B. Okay? So, yeah, back references, kind of nice. To have a more complicated example here, here's the same thing, A's, and then B's, and then the same number of A's. So go ahead and just look to your self-pause and tell me how many, tell me where the matches are and what they are. Pause. Back. Okay. Yeah, we look at this, and I have 3 A's followed by a B, followed by only 2 A's. It turns out I can match that, but I'll have to only lead with 2 A's. Okay, so that's one match. Here I have 3 A's followed by a B, and then no A's at all. So, I will match. My A star will have to be no A's followed by a B, followed by no A's again. So 2 matches to that. And sure enough, we can actually see that. We can see, yep, here was the first match, and here was the second match. And since we parenthesized it as a side effect, we parenthesized it so that we could use the back reference this time. But when we're calling now preg match all, we're getting back the reports about that parenthesized, what matched the parenthesized part, and we can check that too if we wanted to. It's there whether or not we really need it for this aspect. Okay, so we're almost done. There's one more cool thing, which is not correctly formatted on this page. It will be by the time this video is posted. Back references are awesome when you're using another function called preg replace. Preg replace says, hey, give me a string and a regular expression, and wherever you find this, whatever parts of the string, will give me a regular expression and a string like before. Regular expression, string. Does this string contain any matches here? Hey, for every match it contains, replace that section, the matching section of that, with some other string over here. Okay? So, hey, and this is pretty common. I want to replace all groups of A's with a single capital A. Yeah, that'd be easy to do. Okay? So, in fact, let's go ahead and pull that up here. PHP-A, echo preg replace of a pattern for a whole bunch of A's in a row. Let me go ahead and say one or more small A's, followed by, sorry, it's my pattern. Here's my input. High A, space A, B, space C, exclamation point. I'm going to wrap to the next line here, get a continuation prompt. I'm in the middle of calling this. Now say, hey, replace all those one or more A's with a capital A, one or more small A's. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. And it says we get back just a single A. Okay, let me go ahead and fix this for a second. So I'm going to pause my recording, which is easier said than done, but is possible. Oh, I know what it was. I swapped the order of my arguments. Okay, so what was going on here? Yeah, let me go back, and I guess it kind of makes sense. I should have looked up the documentation. Preg replace. Here's a pattern. Here's a thing to replace the pattern with, and here's a string to look for occurrences of that pattern inside of. Okay, so, okay. There's always kind of a tension when you're designing APIs, and you have related functions that take similar arguments. I think it's kind of nice if you can have all the functions always take the first argument being, say, the regular expression, and the second one being the string to look inside of, and then add your extra arguments. But that doesn't always feel the right way either. So yeah, there's definitely a tension there. Okay, regardless, I should have looked up the documentation. Okay, so yeah, here we are. I look inside this string here, and every time I see one or more A's, I replace it with a single capital A. So high, and then the three A's got replaced, and then a space, and then a single A got replaced, and then a B, and then a double A got replaced. So that's a very nice use of preg replace and oh, sorry, that just preg replace, which is handy. Now I want to talk about back references, okay, inside and using them with preg replace. So again, here's another straightforward example of preg replace, the same regular expression we've seen before, and I'm going to go through, and here's the string that I'm going to look for the matches in. We've seen this string before. And here's the thing I'm going to replace it with, but now, what's curious, the string I'm going to replace it with preg replace, has some $1s and $2. It's a little bit like the /1, /2. It says, it refers to, hey, the thing that was used to match the first parenthesized sub-expression, and the thing that was used to match the second parenthesized sub-expression. Okay? So, here, I'm going to take this string here, wherever I find A's, B's, and C's, I'm going to replace it with the I, C, something and something in parentheses. Yeah, okay, so there's only one match here. I, C, and then $1 matched AA. $2 was the second parenthesis subpart, that was the C star. So that was the 5 C's there. So, yeah, so that's kind of neat. I can use preg replace, which is nice by itself. And then I can even do some more heavy lifting if I put parentheses around sub-expressions. We have 3 reasons to parenthesize sub-expressions of a regular expression. 1, because we need to parenthesize it for a star or a plus operator or something like that. 2, I want to match the same thing later on. I want to use a back reference within that regular expression. 3, for preg replace, I want to grab subparts of that out, or just for later looking at the match, pulling out what matched that parenthesized part. So I might use parentheses for any one of those 3 reasons. Okay. Here's an example of using it twice. Parenthesize the A star once so I can use a back reference, match exactly that number of A's, and then I also happen to use it inside what I'm using for preg replace. So when we look at that, yeah, we matched AA, B, AA, just 2 A's this time, not 5 A's, because I'm matching, said, hey, match /1, and then I printed out I see $1 twice. Both the /1 and the $1 referred to what matched that first parenthesized expression. Okay, and then real quick, let me go and remind just to give one more reminder, beware top-level regular expressions that use a star. So I'm going to go ahead and, in the same thing here, I'm going to say, hey, let's go through and replace every 0 or more A's with a capital A, just like before. So what am I going to get again? Go ahead and pause and think about it. You're like, well, gosh, 0 or more A's, that's almost the same. I don't see any occurrences of 0 A's in here. Wait a minute, there's lots of occurrences of 0 A's. Between the H and the I, there are 0 A's. There's the empty string sitting right there. Yeah, so that's going to get replaced with a capital A. So now go ahead and pause and tell me exactly what you think is going to come back. Oh my goodness, yeah, we have lots of capital A's this time, don't we? Before the first H, there's an empty string right there that matches A star. So yeah, we get a capital A followed by the first H. Then between the H and the I, we have a match to A star. After the I so after the I, we had 3 A's in a row. These 3 A's are what created this match here. Okay, we matched as much as we could. Okay, match all the way up to there, and then proceed now from just the remaining after those 3 A's. Look for that. Now you're like, hey, in between those, in that series of 3 A's, there were empty strings between here and here. True, and there were also there were a sequence of 2 A's that matched, but A star is greedy. It tries to match as many A's as possible. 0 if that's all it has, but then as many as it can after that. So it matched all 3 of those A's, and that's what gave us this capital A right after the letter I. Okay, so we have regular expression match. I got all the way up to here, and then said now look for matches to A star. Hey, before the space, I'm sitting here after the 3 A's. I'm about to see a space, but before the space, I see an empty string, so that gave us this capital A, then the space, then after the space was an empty string, okay? And then, actually, I'm not sure why I am getting this A here, now that I think about it. So, clearly I'm missing some sort of empty string that I'm not seeing in there. Then it says, hey, this A followed by a B followed by blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this A goes ahead and gives me this capital A. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. This capital A came from, it did the space, and then it said, hey, match as many A's as possible. That single A character turned into a capital A. Then I'm sitting here before the B. Oh, now I see 0 A's, and then I see the B. Oh my goodness, and so on. Including all the way down to the empty string that is after the exclamation point, which is why we get this one here. So yeah, just separate warning. Beware calling preg match or preg whatever match all replace with a regular expression that is a star, a top level something star. That's probably going to match a lot more than you mean to match. The regular expression library is being correct. It's your regular expression that's capturing a lot more than you intended. Okay, have a good afternoon. Or morning. Evening.